the attorney.
Yes. He's gonna be
Mayor Quentin Hart. Agnes. The mayor done grew a beard.
Hey, you know what time it is.
Boom
shakalaka!
Yes. All
Oh,
right.
boy.
Welcome,
Hey.
everybody. We are here. It's Friday. You made it. This is it.
Yes, and we're going to have a great time as we usually do.
Always
Yeah.
do. And look who's here, Chaveevah, the one and
Yes.
only Matt Gilbert.
Appreciate you. Thanks for having me. I appreciate you welcoming me. I'm excited.
Yes,
Excited to
yes,
discuss
yes.
today.
All right.
And we're excited to have you. We got a lot of stuff to get to. And Matt, we were just going to kind of start out with you because we know everybody knows you. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? We want to ask you, what are the questions we want? What is your role as a social entrepreneur?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
curious about that.
Awesome. So I'll lead into that, but let me first sort of kind of clear the air just so people can really understand and maybe get to know me. You all know me,
Yes.
but I'm still fairly new to the community as it relates to Waterloo. But I grew up in Waterloo, fourth generation black professional from Iowa. in
Yes.
Waterloo.
Yes,
Wow.
that's
Definitely
rare.
A powerful legacy and lineage there. But for myself, I am Dr. Nash's grandson.
Yes.
And my mother is Laura Nash, who is out
Hey,
living on the
Laura.
East Coast.
I know Laura, yes.
we love Laura.
Awesome. I'm an
Yeah.
East High graduate. I'm a basketball state tournament champion.
I remember,
03,
yes.
04.
That's
Just
great.
have a wealth of experience and just positivity and good stories to share as it relates to Waterloo. What I do is I'm an attorney. You mentioned I'm a social entrepreneur, and I'm also an ecosystem architect. And what that pretty much is that I like to build and design communities.
All
Wow.
right.
That are productive and that are interested in making a difference. And so meaningful communities is something that I really resonate with closely here in Waterloo. And so for myself, I'm really, excited that I've matched my skill set with my experience, and now I'm back home to just put in the work. And so a little bit about what I do specifically. I coach and I advise families and businesses and communities on creating generational wealth.
All
And I also
right.
help them discover a legacy of impact. So what that means, if I can unpack that a little bit, I help people solve problems and I help families make a difference. in
All
doing
right.
so.
All right.
All right.
Sounds fantastic to me.
Exactly. Well, we love that little quick rundown this morning.
Yes.
And so that you explained what a social entrepreneur is, but how did you get started on this career path? And by the way, welcome home. So
Yeah,
you're here to
thank you.
stay? Are you
Yeah.
here to stay now?
Yes, I'm
Okay,
here.
that's
I'm
good
here.
to know.
Okay.
I'm here. I am here. So how did I get started on the path? I walked out of East High. I left East High, graduated, and at that point, I just sort of jumped out into thin air, it felt like. The rest of Iowa, I stayed here in Iowa and went to persistently and predominantly white institutions. And so I did that to get the training that I needed so I could really help and give back. And so being a social entrepreneur really is more in my DNA. They just finally have language for it.
A name for it.
They
All
just
right.
finally have language for it. And so for myself, I grew up watching my grandmother, watching my mother, learning stories about my family and how they just continue to contribute to the advancement of education, health, and really civil rights and economic rights for African American families throughout Iowa. So with a servant leadership sort of lineage, being a social entrepreneur just only felt right. And in addition to that, I've developed very good relationships with every community that I'm in. And what ends up happening, being the black professional in the community, you get to learn about the issues right away.
Okay.
And instead of me just going to some institution to collect a check, I really wanted to make a difference. And so I just basically being a social entrepreneur, I just had to listen.
Okay.
And listening allowed me to identify areas where I can contribute and I can start to develop talent to help contribute alongside.
Now, just listening to this snippet of the conversation, y'all, what do we talk about every week? There's always something good happening on the north end and everywhere else in the Cedar Valley. And we have this fantastic young man right here with us back home, setting it off.
Now that is something good for real. We're just so excited to have you back home, and with your charge and other leaders like Corey Mohammed and the other young men that are leading the protests. We have a new police chief. I mean, things are looking up for Waterloo, Chaveevah.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. We want to make sure that you know that you're here, so you're not virtually square. And we want you to check out our wall for all the good things that are happening tonight. And tonight we're having the opening, the dedication.
Right.
Of
There's going to be
Lincoln
the
Park.
newly remodeled Lincoln Park. There's going to be a dedication for Lincoln Park at 5 o'clock this evening.
Right, and we want to tell you, eat that catfish at Old School. I mean, not Old School, but Comfort Zone. They got catfish at Comfort Zone all day today, and Old School Lounge is having some type of Snapchat kind of thing tonight too. So make sure you support local businesses safely. We do want to remind people that there is a pandemic out there still, so we want you to be safe. And I believe there's outdoor seating at most of your
And
social.
wherever you go, just make sure this is your accessory when needed.
Exactly. Of course, we're staying safe on set here today. So we want to remember last week's show, Chaveevah. Did you happen to catch us last week with the ever popular
Pastor Belinda Creighton Smith? We had a great conversation with her last week out in Lincoln Park.
Yes, it
Yeah,
was
just-
so, we looked so happy and springy, and you know, her voice is like an angel. She just has the sweetest singing voice, and I listened to her on KBBG this morning too. So this afternoon on the way in, you know, she reads those scriptures and everything, and it's just so beautiful to have her. And she's also another asset here in Waterloo that we just love.
Yes.
Great conversation with her. Newsflash.
Yes, news flash. Birthday people, we have not forgotten about you. Don't forget about us. Stick around and hear your shout out a little later on in the show.
Yes,
And,
because
yeah.
Dr. Nash's grandson can sing. I done heard about it.
Really?
Yes. Can you sing? Just warm up a little bit for as he puts his mask on. I guess
Oh,
I heard
boy.
wrong, but we're gonna get him to sing, y'all. So don't leave, okay? And what about that census,
Oh,
Matt?
yeah.
What do you got to tell the people about the census papers?
Yeah, first I'd like to just let people know that the census is going on right now.
Yes.
Currently, Iowa is ranked fourth as self-reporting numbers are starting to trickle in. And that basically looks like 1 in 3 households are still out there needing to be counted. And what the census is literally a population survey. And it's used to help draw congressional lines for representation
Yes.
on our Senate and our House. In addition to that, it's used to help identify spending by the government in local communities. In addition, what ends up happening is that the census provides a level of detail every 10 years to government bodies, and it's written in the Constitution of the United States that every 10 years, the United States is supposed to do a population study. And so that census has been going on for centuries. And so at this point, we need to really be looking at why our communities are being left behind.
That's right, Matt. Say that.
And one of the reasons are because, as you noticed with COVID and this pandemic, what we've seen is that once you start to disaggregate the data and basically pull the data apart and start to stretch it a little bit, that is when you start to understand where the disparities are. So what ends up happening is that we get all this data and this information that informs how policy is written, informs how government money is spent, but it also helps communities figure out where to draw their lines for investments. And so it's important that everyone Take a moment. It'll take you 5 minutes. Go to uscensus.gov, and what you'll find there is a brief intro to learning about the survey. They're not going to ask you any personal information.
Right, they ain't trying to get all up in your business like
Nah,
that,
nah.
right?
They
Okay.
only want to know household info. Who's in the house, how old they are, and what your resident status. Are you a tenant? Are you an owner? And in addition to that, they do ask an age just to sort of really,
Sure.
as I mentioned, disaggregate the data. But they're not asking for your personal information. They don't want to know credit card information. They don't
Right.
want to know social security numbers. They don't want to know anything that's related to you. And then in addition to that, there's a federal mandate and a federal rule that doesn't allow the census to share any of their actual data they
Okay,
collect.
so see,
That's
you
great.
gotta fill it out.
And it's not something that's terribly time consuming either. I
Right.
know from, yep.
And it's
yep.
not too late, so pick up those papers off of your desk or go
Go
to,
online, yes.
or go online.
2020census.gov, and you can find an abundant amount of information. Take the census survey. It should take you 5 minutes, but we need to make sure that here in Iowa,
Right.
we count everyone where they are once.
That's
All right.
right, that's
especially,
right.
especially the toddlers, especially the little ones.
Okay.
Because they often go undercounted.
Oh,
Because
yeah,
may
then
live
they
at
don't get the
grandma's house,
resources.
But then they also may sort of frequent their parents' house. So
Sure.
definitely count
Okay.
everyone from birth to tomb.
Agnes is going to love us. Well, thank you so much, and welcome home again.
Thank you.
Where's
Yes.
he been, Chaveevah?
I know.
We needed him a couple weeks ago,
All right.
and next week, and the week after. No.
No time like the present, though.
I'll be back. I'll be
Okay,
back.
all right, we love it. Okay,
right.
so we're going to give it a little bit of air, Chaveevah, because
Because exposure is the best disinfectant. And some of these things in history and things that are just going on right now in our regular day-to-day news cycle, life, whatever, they just need some exposure, need a little bit of sunlight shown on them to kind of, as we navigate our way through this stuff.
yes, and you
Yeah.
know, we talked about all this good stuff. We got our census filled out, and we got Matt's information and everything. And so sometimes we do have to reflect, as you said. And we posted something on our wall recently about something, that was constructive, because now that we're having all these racial conversations, we posted what is something that white people could say that would offend a black person unknowingly. And we started out. Did you see that post?
No, I didn't, but I got one.
You got one. Oh, share. Oh, he's just
Okay.
chomping. Go ahead. What is
Okay,
it?
Here we go. Here's the one that gets me, especially in this time,
Okay.
because we got to bring truth to power. Right?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Privilege.
Uh-oh.
Ooh.
There you
when
go.
you tell me that you are privileged and you don't understand that privilege is very different than having advantage. Right?
Okay, right.
Privilege is very different. Advantage is very intentional. Privilege is more passive. So a lot of times we use this racial construct to allow ourselves to define ourselves, but ends up happening, we just miss defining who we are. So when we start to talk about white privilege, no, advantage, because we can look
Oh.
at systems,
Oh.
we can look at policies, and we can look at intentional destruction and terrorism that has literally stolen wealth from our community.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
That sounds like a show of its own.
Absolutely. I said I was going to stop saying absolutely so much, but
Absolutely, right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, so yeah, that's one thing. And another one that we found, Chaveevah, was the American flag, and some people, with the kneeling, respectfully kneeling, in honor of those that stand, is what Colin Kaepernick did. We've had people, saying that, about making it about the flag when it wasn't.
Right.
And I often share the story about my father at the karate tournament. When Travis was a little boy, he took karate. Did he try some moves on you?
All
No.
the time.
Okay.
Hey, in those karate pants.
Well, we were, yes, and we were at the karate tournament. We were the only people of color in the place. And they said, in liberty and justice for all. First of all, my dad would not put his hand on his heart. So here I am standing there like, oh, brother, I'm so embarrassed. And then when they said liberty and justice for all, my dad said, you could drop a pin in there. My dad said, bullshit. And I was so embarrassed. I wanted to climb in the hole, and on the car, I had the nerve to be angry at him. And like, Dad, why did you say that? I think the Iowa Public Television, we talked about it there.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
he explained to me, you know, you can't be mad at me. You don't know what I went through. And he was in a segregated military in the Army, and you know, who knows what kind of things he went through. So he did not have the same reverence for the American flag. And so that right there kind of hit home with me, and I recognize that. So for people that think that everyone should feel the same, all the good, bad, and ugly all happens under one flag. So each individual may
Right,
have a
and
different feeling.
everyone's experience is not the same.
Right,
sure.
right. And he shared privilege, I shared the flag. And then what about these monuments, Chaveevah? Let's just get that one clear. What's the deal with people tearing down the
There are a lot of monuments that, in retrospect, or whatever, when you look back at it, some of the people that these monuments have been built to, people don't have the same point of reference as far as, you know, what may have been considered heroic then. You look back and say, oh, no, that's really something entirely different, and legitimately so. It's always been that the Native Americans didn't feel about Columbus the way that the founding fathers of this country. Speaking of founding fathers, the way that certain people in this country may feel about them is not the same way, for example, that their property, Black people, did not feel that same way about them. So you just have to look at things in a different perspective. And it's not to say that, oh, well, you have to consider the times. There was never a time when it was morally okay. It may have been legal, but
Yes.
there's never a time when it was morally okay to own people. So,
Right.
you know.
And we're not saying that they shouldn't be here. They're here. Let's put them in a museum where there's correct context, and let's start
Yes.
teaching real history. Is
Right, because
our point.
destruction or putting aside of the monuments is not going to make history suddenly disappear. They have this marvelous invention called books. You can read about it.
Computers.
Yes.
Agnes, I wonder if we could bother her for any comments today, and if she can, she'll come out here and share with us anything that people might say. And if she can't, we will just, as we say, Chaveevah, continue in prayer.
Yes. And
Okay.
for the folks who have joined us, thank you so much.
Okay. She says keep praying. So thank you for
Thank you so
joining
much
us
for-
if you're
yes.
here, yes, and not being virtually square. Okay, so what else? The Charles City, the young man that had the racist comments. So we're still here. We're still in we're not post-racist society yet,
No,
are we?
Not at all.
Have you heard about the?
So I've only heard a little bit, not enough to speak intelligently about it. So with what I know, and you know, really tying in the monuments, we got to be careful to make sure that our history, especially the history of American descendants of slaves, is not erased from our history books. It's already not taught in our schools, so
Right.
you wonder why we have the issue. So the climate is not even set for these times. All right, we're still in industrial times, but most importantly, it's an opportunity. It can be a bridge, but with the social media and everything, I think it's a challenge. You know, to really, I think for white fragility to deal with race-based trauma.
Oh yes, I believe it too.
Yes.
With the Charles City situation, and also other situations that are just going around throughout the country, it's time for these conversations, and I'm glad to have you here to talk to us about them. We got to shout out our crew, Chaveevah.
Yes, we absolutely have to shout out our crew. We're so thankful for Agnes and Ed, who make us look good each and every week. Can't forget about Zion.
Oh yes, Zion, who's
Yes.
at home working 3 jobs, and because of social distances, we ain't trying to have no young people like that all around every week.
Okay.
But we love you, Zion. Also, you can watch us anytime, any show at youtube.com, and just type in North End Update. Email us at northendupdate.com. We got your email today.
Awesome.
All right, we're going to move on to, we know you talk to Chillin' a lot.
Oh yeah.
So you are a subscriber to the Soul Town. We love to
Yes,
give
the
Chillin' a
Soul
hand. We
Town.
love you, Chill. Yes. The Soul Town. We got a great edition this month.
Yes, it's every month. It's just a really fantastic publication. wonderful that this was the starting place, wonderful that Cherie took the initiative to even start something like the Soul Town, and there are, I mean, it's gone worldwide. You know, it used
Yeah,
to be
kinda
just
like
our
our show.
community.
Our
Yep.
show is worldwide too.
And it's important, and I'll make a point here. It's important that in this time, right, when information is critical, right, that we support black media,
Yes.
especially black media here in Iowa. So even if you don't read any more magazines, purchase it. Keep it as, you know, coffee table
Online.
considerations.
For sure.
Online. you know,
Right.
subscribe.
That's right. And you can watch our show. All you got to do is press play.
That's right.
And you can see us, the Rocki. Yep, there it is. Thanks to Agnes with that TV magic. We just love it.
And in this month's issue, the Waterloo Writing Project is highlighting the graduating seniors. They are Carme, Zion Dale, and Sabur Muhammad.
Our
So,
Zion, yes.
our Zion.
Yes, yes. So you can get your edition at thesoultown.com. And it's seen in 19 countries and
Yes.
14 planets, Matt.
Awesome.
Okay.
Okay, we
Yes.
get to talk to you now. Now we get to ask you some questions, Chaveevah. She's got them all. Well, actually, some people asked online.
Yes, and we really appreciate that you responded to those questions online, but just to reiterate, what are, for example, your rights during an police interrogation?
And we have 4 questions and about 4 minutes.
Yep, and we'll get through those. And I say right away, you know, I encourage you to really understand the Fifth and the Fourth Amendment. Those are going to be 2 things that are going to help you determine whether you're in custody, whether you're arrested, and also your Miranda rights, right? And so what I encourage you to take a Google search and go find out, as well as, you know, don't wait until it's too late. So what I encourage people, and as I responded online, I just gave you some real critical steps that you need to take. First, you need to ask, are you under arrest, right? Are you in custody or are you being detained? Each one of those has a different level of sort of privilege, we'll call that word. Now, that's privilege, right?
Okay.
That the police get to sort of exercise, right? So if you're unsure, the only thing you need to do is stay silent. The only thing you need to do is ask to speak to your attorney.
Okay. All right.
Wow.
Next question. Another person asked, are there any funds to help businesses recover from this pandemic? And you did share that on our wall, so we want to encourage you to go there and look at those comments.
Yeah, and I'll spill it real quickly. Yes, here in Waterloo, the city of Waterloo has the Community Development Block Grant, and they're taking applications right now for both small businesses as well as nonprofits that have been hit bad by the pandemic. In addition to that, the SBA still is taking applications for their grant, quote unquote.
And that's Jane Armstrong.
Jane Armstrong,
That
right.
is Jane Armstrong. Yep, Jane's a good friend of mine.
Okay.
The SBA, they don't do grants, so they actually will have a forgivable loan, which ultimately becomes a grant. To date, I've helped almost I don't know how many businesses, but almost $1 million. I've seen some of my clients receive accumulatively.
Wow,
through
that's
this
awesome.
pandemic.
Yeah. Okay, and your law firm or your business, where are you located? You're here in Waterloo now, and are you looking for, what do you call them, clients?
Yes, I am definitely. Tap into my social media. Please reach out to me at Mr.
look at
Greatness
that.
Official. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Twitter. Please, please, please give me shoot me a DM. Let's talk. Ask me a question. Tag me in a comment. Keep me involved. But
Fantastic.
definitely, I am always open for business.
All right, he's right here in town, you all.
Just love it. We're going to be
Yes.
where you're going to wish we never got your phone number. Because I'll be like, Matt, seriously, I need help.
That's all right.
Okay.
I'll take care of it.
Okay, sounds good. And we already got your contact information.
Yes.
We wanted to encourage people to check out some of our sponsors. We have some Banneker watches sitting here. We want to shout out to Derek Holmes, and Chaveevah's wearing hers.
It just so happened.
Right. So
Yes.
we appreciate that and all of the other people that have sponsored us along the way. And of course, we love to mention them, but we got to mention our birthday people. And we
Awesome.
got to hear you sing.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I do got a birthday shout out.
Oh, yes.
Andre Bradford, the
Oh,
second.
yes.
Yes,
Okay.
family. It is his birthday today.
Oh, happy
Just young
birthday.
up-and-comers. I just want to keep them plugged in and tapped into the city. Also want to give a special shout out to, he also graduated from Iowa State this year.
Oh, my
And I also
goodness.
want to give a shout out to another special graduate, Bryson Chamberlain.
Bryson, yes.
All right.
Bryson,
And,
yes.
and Khalil. Yep, and Khalil Crawley.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Wow.
Well, shout out to them.
Yeah.
Those are some
Indeed.
Awesome.
definitely congratulations to all of you. And you get to read the middle column.
Okay.
You have a list there on the back page there. And so I'll start out with John Sprague, happy birthday. Deborah Brown, Latanya Roby Hill, Nikki McMahon, and Timothy Norman.
Sonia Farmer, Becky Larson, Marcus Magnum, Taja Thoreau Wright, and Melvin McClarity.
Okay, also happy birthday to Pam Owens Folkers, Chuck Lane, Sharon Griffin Allen, hey, Jamad Salas, and Kim Leahy Jacobson.
Yes.
Happy birthday to you all.
Happy birthday, Miss Kimmy. She watches all the time.
Yes.
And we got to read our comments before we sing, Chaveevah. Would you mind looking at them? Right
Okay,
quick?
yes,
You
no
got your
problem.
glasses?
I gotta have my
Okay,
glasses.
yeah, let's go ahead and see if we can't get our, because
Now
I
we
know
can
some
do it
people.
like that. Y'all like, okay.
Right,
I haven't
so-
seen anybody get up and walk around for a while, but
Right,
this
it's,
is
that's
what
how
it
we
is.
do.
Hey,
You know.
but that's all right. And while you're doing that, I also have a gift for you.
A gift?
Yes, for
For
the
us?
show.
Oh, wow.
These weren't just prizes.
Oh, my
my
goodness.
show.
Oh, my goodness.
Derek Holmes with Banneker Watches is
Oh,
proud to present you.
thank
Me as
you.
the brand ambassador, proud to present you with these watches. Right?
Oh.
They're yours to choose.
Oh,
I
my
wanna leave them here
goodness.
with you. They're all made of great customized woods, and so definitely pay homage to the relic of.
Oh,
Wow.
thank you so much. I think I
man.
like this one.
Oh, okay, see, and I think I like this one, so hey.
That works?
Wow,
Oh, thank you.
fantastic.
Shout out to
Yes, thank you. These
Matt.
are beautiful.
And thank you, Derek, of course.
Yes.
Yes, indeed. Well, there we go. And the comments?
Wow. You know, actually,
There
we
weren't
got a
any
lot of people
comments.
watching,
Lot of
but
people
no
watching.
comments. They're just in awe.
I know, they're probably just
Because
all
that's
sitting there
right.
like, I didn't know that, and I didn't know that.
Well, if no comments, I got a couple shout outs to folks that locally are local stakeholders that have been continuing to help me do the work that I really want to do here. CUNA Mutual Group.
Oh, yes.
Iowa Core, 24/7 Black. The NAACP, the Community Foundation of Northeast Iowa,
All right.
the Iowa-Nebraska Association for Black Journalists, the Waterloo Youth City Council, the local Boys and Girls Club of the Cedar Valley, the Soul Town,
Yes, yes.
the Urban Experience, and Urban City Magazine. Thank you for that.
Awesome.
All right.
You're so welcome. And,
Yes.
and I'm sure they all have birthdays too. So we're going to sing happy birthday to all them and our people.
That's
and we're
right.
going to sing the Stevie Wonder version. And it goes something like this. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday, happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday. See, I told you you could sing. Look at him. He sounded
See, and my
so.
motto is, if you can't sing good, sing loud. That's what I do.
Just sing. And
All
it's
right.
happy birthday to me with my new
I
Banneker.
know.
Hey. Well, you'll see me with my
know.
Banneker on
My,
soon.
my.
We want to look for you at Lincoln Park tonight. They're going to dedicate. I think the mayor's going to be there, Chaveevah.
Yeah,
you
I think
imagine?
so.
Agnes, is the mayor going to be there? Yes. Okay, the mayor
right.
will be there. Matt will be there. I will be there. Chaveevah will be there.
I will be there too, yes.
And Bryson, and you can tell
Yes.
him happy congratulations for his graduation. All right, until next time.
Oh, man, until
This was a
next
great
time.
show, Chaveevah.
Yeah, I
Another
know.
one. Okay, keep doing
Yes.
more of what makes you awesome because it makes us all look good. See you
All
next
right.
time.
Yes.